So I have a clip here from The View. And surprisingly, it's not about Meghan McCain. And I could easily do a series of Meghan McCain mishaps. That's a nice title right there. Meghan McCain mishaps, right? And I'm actually, this week gonna get on her, because of some stupid shit she was saying, later on. But for right now, the person that I have to talk about is Whoopi Goldberg. She wasn't saying anything malicious, or anything, off the wall, but she was really showing her ignorance. Now, Bernie Sanders was on The View, and man, oh man, she really showed that she has no idea what the fuck she's talking about. And usually she's a voice of reason, in my opinion. Usually she's a common sense talker on that show. But not this time around. Listen, when it comes to politics, nobody on The View knows what the fuck they're talking about. So whoever's watching The View to get political insight, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell you're watching The View for to get political insight. But I have a clip here to show you. I'm going to play the clip in full, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
Andrew Yang was here and made perfect sense to me. And I haven't heard really anybody else in the party, whatever party we're talking about, say, hey, do you realize that if Facebook and Amazon and all the other gigantic corporations paid any tax, we could find some relief for regular Americans?
Sure.
Do you agree with that?
Of course I do. I've been talking about that for years.
Well, no, I haven't. When Andrew came on and sort of broke it down, what he suggested, and I'm sure you know this because you've been spending time with him, but his idea was, if one of those companies gave every American $1,000, people's lives would change. What do you think of such an idea?
I think that right now, when you have Donald Trump and his friends giving well over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and large profitable corporations, I think that's obscene.
Right, but will you change that?
Of course I'll change it.
Well, how do I know this?
Because I've been talking about it for 25 years.
Well, you haven't. Not for me. Not like this.
No.
Yeah,
but look,
it's a little different.
What you got right now, Whoopi, this is what you got. You got Amazon, owned by the wealthiest guy in America, made over $10 billion in profit last year. Do you know what they paid in federal income tax?
Nothing.
Not a penny.
Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
I know. So what I'm asking you is, it's your position that these corporations, all of these big corporations, will now, if you're elected president, one of the things you're going to make sure that they do is they pay their fair share, and that will trickle to the American people.
That's at the very top of my agenda. Absolutely.
Yes, that's his
Absolutely.
I don't, I don't really know, because, I've watched you over the last several years, and I've had lots of questions about what you want to do. So
Yang's also talking about giving every American money.
Yes.
All right, but I'm talking about giving every American a job, which I think is terribly important. We have an enormous amount of work to be done in this country in terms of climate change, to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. We're talking about creating up to 20 million good-paying jobs.
Yeah.
We're talking about rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. We're talking about building the millions of units of affordable housing that this country
everybody says that, Bernie.
No.
Everybody says
Well, in all
we're
due
gonna do it.
respect, I think the agenda that I am bringing forth is the most progressive agenda ever brought forth by any candidate, serious candidate running for president of the United States.
Okay, so she's really asking some stupid question. If you would have even, I don't know, did 10 minutes of research on Bernie Sanders, you would have known, making big corporations pay taxes is top 5 for Bernie Sanders. it got like at first I thought she would like at first it was like, all right, she's just asking questions maybe for us out here, that the very slim and few people that don't know what he stands for, maybe she's asking for us. And as it just progressed, I was like, yo, really, she has no fucking idea. She's really fucking lost. You didn't even do 10 minutes of research on the person that was coming on your show. You couldn't have. And then Bernie said, yeah, I've been saying this for the last 25 years. She goes, no, not for me, you haven't. The fuck you mean, not for you? He's been saying this for everybody. It's not his fault if you ain't been paying attention. Because, love him or hate him, you know what the hell Bernie Sanders stands for. Like, even if you don't agree, even if you're on the other side of the spectrum, even if you're a Republican, even if you're a corporate Democrat, you know what Bernie stands for. I'm not saying you gotta agree, but you know he's for Medicare for all. You know he wants to make corporations pay taxes. You know he wants free college. You know he wants to erase student loan debt. Like, these are just like of the norm Bernie Sanders shit. You watch one so she actually said, I've been watching you the past several years. You, ma'am, are a fucking liar. Because if you were to watch Bernie Sanders at all, even a little bit within the last 7 years, you wouldn't be asking that dumbass question. She made it sound like Yang, and I like Yang, but she's like, yeah, you know what he's up, because you've been around him you've been around him recently. But yeah, this is what Yang's talking about, man. Bernie, where you at, man? Where you at on this? Listen, Mija. Bernie started this shit. Like, Bernie set the revolution. America's dad, Bernie Sanders, set this shit off. They're just following in his footsteps. And they might have some variations and slightly different ideas. But listen, when nobody wanted to talk about this shit, the person talking about it was Bernie Sanders. So, no, listen, it don't give a fuck about what Yang was talking about on your show. You should have been asking Yang, yo, you know what Bernie's talking about? Like, Bernie set this shit off. What do you like? And then she was like mixing up the UBI and the corporations paying taxes. Like, she really sounded it. If this is how the average American thinks, if they're thinking like Whoopi, then that's scary. Because I've always thought to myself, people have common sense. They know what the hell's going on, but they feign ignorance, or they're just so stuck on their side that they choose to close their ears and not listen to what they don't want to hear. But she was really oblivious. That was sad. That was cringeworthy. I've been talking about this for the last 25 years. Not for me, you haven't. No, you haven't. What the fuck? What do you mean, no, you haven't? Then what has he been talking? If he hasn't been talking about this, what the hell has he been talking about? Why are they calling him a socialist? Why are they calling him a communist in some cases? Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about, Whoopi? This was sad. Listen, you are a huge show. The View is a huge show. People watch the fuck out of The View. I don't know why. Maybe because they like to see the cat fighting amongst each other. Or maybe they just want to hear the dumb shit Meghan McCain's going to say. I don't know. But The View gets views. That's funny. The View gets views. And you didn't do any amount of research on Bernie? You didn't... If what you're saying is true, that I've watched you for so long, and I have so many questions as to what you're saying. That literally makes no sense. I've watched you for so long, for the last 7 years, and I have so many questions as to what you stand for. How do you know then you haven't been watching Bernie Sanders? You haven't. You simply have not. You simply have not been paying attention to Bernie Sanders, because it's not even like this intricate, crazy policies. It's up and in your face. Like, it's just there. If you wanted details on the specific policies and the intricacies of them, fine. But you didn't even know what he stood for at all. So no, Whoopi, you have not been watching Bernie Sanders. You've literally been going out of your way to not pay attention to Bernie Sanders. That is the only reasonable explanation for the things you were saying. And again, I'll go back to it. You couldn't do 10 minutes of research on this person that's going to come on your show and get millions of views. You didn't do 10 minutes of research. Like, that's insane. Or at least ask her, look, I just did a segment on Andrew Yang, and I really fucks with Yang. And I always tell my people that watch my show, the Read My Lips listeners, if you have anything to say in the comments, or if I'm wrong about something, let me know. Like, I ask people, like, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, if something's off, if you don't like it, etc., let me know in the comments. And they put me on to even more shit about Yang that I didn't even realize, and that made him even better of a candidate than I thought he was originally. And originally I liked him. So you couldn't ask any of your co-hosts, like, hey, what do you know about Bernie? Like, let me know some things about Bernie that I might not know. Because one of them spoke up and she was like, yeah, this is what he's been fighting. This is his thing. This is literally his thing. Yes, he wants to tax big corporations. He's been freaking picketing with Walmart workers. He did the Bezos bill. Like, when you talk, like, oh man, this was sad. I mean, pretty much what it boils down to is me ranting because this was hard to watch and it was sad. And I hope she got a tweet storm. I hope The View got a tweet storm telling Whoopi, like, fuck is your problem? You, for shame. I am disappointed, Whoopi. I am not saying Whoopi, right? I am saying sad. Sad, very sad. That was bad. So yeah, I shouldn't even be surprised because people don't research. People really don't. Again, in 2016, when I was talking to people about, who they're going to vote for, etc., like, people were defaulting to Hillary, and like, I asked them, like, so what about Hillary do you like? And nobody had any answers. And I asked people, like, you didn't do any research? Like, you have your phone in your hand all the time. You didn't look anything up? And they're like, no. So, I shouldn't be surprised that Whoopi didn't look anything up or do any research into Bernie. But she shouldn't even had to have done that. Like, you watch any Bernie Sanders speech, rally, anything, like, what he stands for is front and center. So you're simply lying when you say you've watched him the last several years and you don't understand what he's for. Like, you sound ridiculous. All right, rant over. God, that was annoying. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.